Hello, Mr. Bloxham here, and we're just going to make some bread. So I've got some fresh yeast here. So the first thing we're going to do is put some flour in. I've already made up the yeast because with fresh yeast you have to let it work a little bit first. So I'm going to show you that in here. In here I've got some sugar, which helps feed the yeast, and some warm water. So it needs to be about lukewarm water. Because that works better. Then hot water will kill it, cold water will just be slow. So I've got 500 mils of grams of strong flour in here. Now you normally have strong flour, it's got a high gluten content, about 11 or 12%. It has to be over, I think it's 10.5 is the actual threshold. So I've got sugar here, so the sugar in here, this is the fresh yeast here by the way. This is being frozen, normally it's a bit crumbly, or you can use dried yeast. With fresh yeast you have to use roughly twice as much. One of these should easily do 500 to 750 grams, maybe 500 for a bun dough and 750 for bread. You could use less, but then it would take longer to prove. So if you made it up and then leave it for 2 hours to prove first or something, that will probably work. So in here, I'm going to put a little bit of oil. You don't have to have olive oil, I don't think it's going to taste any different to be honest. Some chefs will swear by olive oil, I think it'll be fine with that. So pitch it on, roughly half the amount of liquid to flour, so roughly 250 here. Oh, I've also got some salt, so I haven't put that in yet. I should have put that in first. So I need some salt, so I'm going to measure this. So about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. And I've also got a thing called improver. Now salt does two things: give it flavour and it helps control the yeast. It can kill the yeast, so don't add the salt into here. Sugar will feed the yeast and also will help form the crust on the bread. You get a slight caramelisation. Bread will go brown like toast if you grill it. It will go brown, that's dextrinization, but where there's some sugar in it, it will help it colour. So buns, when you put them in the oven, they normally cook slightly quicker than the bread, or darken quicker because they've got quite a bigger, higher sugar content. So I'm putting all this in. You do need the bread a little bit sticky, then it will rise better. If it's too dry, it won't rise. So depending on what you're making, but if you want it to rise quite well and be quite light, you want it. So I'm going to put a little bit more water in. If you're making buns now rather than bread, rather than warm water, you'll be putting warm milk, butter and eggs in it. It gives it a richer and more sugar and some spice. That's what would be the main difference between bun dough and bread dough. So the two jobs of yeast, salt, I've said that. 2 jobs of sugar, feed the yeast and help make a golden crust. So this has got a dough hook on here. There's also a beater and a whisk that will break the machine as well. Preferably break the whisk and then break the machine if you use the beater, especially with a lot of mixing, maybe with a tiny bit of mix. But this is 500 grams. This will easily take about a kilo, this bowl, maybe 1.5 kilos sometimes spills over the top. So now this is actually called kneading, and you can knead it by hand. So I'm going to go through a few of the questions while that's kneading, because this is some of the homework questions they've got. What flour to use, that strong flour or bread making flour, because it's got a high gluten content. What is the temperature of the liquid to make bread? Lukewarm, like blood temperature 37 degrees. 2 jobs of sugar, I've said that, or 2 types of yeast. So we've got dried yeast here and fresh yeast. This is like quick acting yeast. This one can go straight in the flour, and this one you have to mix with the water. And I've left that for about 25 minutes. It recommends 15, but I've left it for about 25 or so. What does prove mean? What we're going to do once this is kneaded and it's in a ball, we're going to leave it in here till it's doubled in size. So you're going to see it in there in a minute. And then I'm going to show you in an hour, and it's all nearly an hour, and it's going to be doubled in size. What type of raising agent is used? That's biological. Prove. The second time I prove it, I'm going to prove it in here on the tray, the bread. This is going to be for bread or pizza. And I'm going to put some boiling water in this tray. Be careful putting boiling water in there. Don't take it out and put the boiling water in. Just bring it out a bit and pour a little bit in the kettle. And don't put this on, and that will just be nice and steamy for it. That will stop getting a skin. To stop it getting a skin the first time, I'm just going to put a tea towel on it, so that would be the normal thing to do. That's a tea towel for the bowl. I'm going to make another lot later ready for my lesson. But this is the first lot, so it's ready, so it can be ready. Now you don't actually meant to prove it twice. You can get away with proving it once. That's called the Chorley method, Chorley wood method. You can put a little bit of citric acid in it and that will speed it up. Vitamin C helps speed it up. 2 ways to stop forming the skin. I said that. How do you know when it's proved enough? Normally when it's doubled in size. If you overprove it, it loses some of its shape, and sometimes if you get a bread loaf, say this was a bread tin and it was up here, and you put it in the oven, it's overproved, it falls back down. That's one reason we have strong flour, it's less likely to fall back down. What 5 shapes? I'm going to make loads of different shapes. Cottage loaf, an S, a C, a hedgehog and a plat, and a knot. I like the knots, tiny a knot. I've actually got some poppy seeds to put on the bread later. 2 cheeses from Italy. This is more for the pizza. Mozzarella will be well known. There's 2 types of mozzarella. The grated type that looks a bit yellow, or the white type that's in water that you slice up. The sliced up one's fine, but sometimes it melts a lot and it spreads over and it looks a little bit watery. Also Parmesan would be okay. Gorgonzola's a blue cheese from Italy. It wouldn't normally go on a pizza, but it would be fine. I would eat that, but the average person would have either Parmesan or mozzarella, the 2 types of mozzarella. In England, we just use cheddar, mainly because it's cheaper. Don't put tomato puree. This is a big mistake people do. They put tomato puree on it, neat tomato puree, that burns. I'm going to show them that in, put some neat tomato puree in the burn. What I do is I'm going to liquidize this, or use some passata and mix it with, this is a bit too weak, I'm going to mix that with some tomato puree. Also, I'm going to put a few herbs in it and maybe a bit of garlic. What is the best? No, that's it. The last ones are just about the live lesson about what they want me to know. So that's probably needed enough now. Going to turn it off, bring the handle down. Oh, it doesn't feel very warm considering I had warmish bread in. But it's got an hour till my lesson till I need it. And some of this, and it's quite sticky, which is good. Now I'm going to quickly show you on the table. Let me get a tiny bit of flour. Don't need too much flour. This is a big mistake people make as well. They put too much flour down. I might put a tiny bit of flour down because it is a little bit sticky. But it's meant to be sticky. It will rise a lot better. So if you were to knead it, because you've got no machine, just mix it together. Don't punch it or anything. You stretch it this way, bring your hand over, stretch it that way, like this. And as you can see, that's nice and smooth. That means it's ready. I could prove it for a little bit longer. That should knead it for a little bit longer. So this actually does 2 things. It stretches the gluten and it helps feed the yeast. It helps bring the yeast into contact with its food, which is either in the flour or in the sugar. So it mixes it nice. As you see, it's nice and smooth here. If you're doing a bread loaf, you'd knead it once it's kneaded, and you have the crease on the bottom so you can't see it. Well, you'd normally do, that's what I would normally do. So that goes into here. The tea towel goes on top, and then we're going to leave that for 1 hour. So you can see it's 9:30 on my thing. It'll be just before 9:30 because my lesson starts at 10:30. So I'm going to show you that just before the lesson starts. It might not be quite to the top because it's not that warm in here, but we'll see how much it rises. Thank you. Mr. Bloxham here, back with the bread. As you can see, it's easily doubled in size. I cheated a little bit. As you can see, it's actually only 10:10. Now I knew my live lesson started at 10:30, so I needed to set it up before then. So I put it in the grill area, in here with a steamy bit of water, and some water in the pan. So it's only 45 minutes to get to that. That's definitely doubled in size, but I'm going to leave it in there like that to show my class what knock back means, which means push all the air out of it. Then I'm going to use it. So that's only 45 minutes, so that was good. Thank you.